Pigs have a secret weapon when it comes to building soil health that few other livestock have. If you're anything like us, you probably have a lot of worn out soils on your farm. Maybe they've been row cropped like ours, or in many of them, maybe they're low pH, low soil nutrients, and wet soils for a significant portion of the year. Chances are you've heard about the principles of soil health that include keeping a living cover on the soil, integrating livestock, and many, many others. In this video, I'm going to show you why pigs can be the best livestock to improve soil health and how their secret weapon is a weapon that no other livestock has. In this 30-acre field south of Dowdle Road, parts of it, this is the second year we've grown cover crops in it, and parts of it, it's the first year we've grown cover crops in it. And over here north of Dowdle Road where our pigs are, very similar soil types, very similar situations, but the pigs have accelerated the growth in ways that cover crops and cattle never could. Poultry are one of the predominant livestock that people talk about incorporating into their pastures. After all, their nitrogen-rich manure can do wonders for immediate flushes of growth. But if you want sustained performance, cattle, and especially pigs, are the better option. One of the most popular ways of improving and regenerating soil and pastures is by using cattle. After all, you can graze what's there that's edible. The cattle will eat some of the stuff that's not their favorite forages, and if they're packed tightly enough and moved frequently enough, they'll tromp the remaining grass, forbs, weeds, and whatever else into the ground to help feed soil life. Those two pigs didn't feel like waiting until I got the paddock set up for them. With extremely worn out, poor soils, many times people will hay bomb them. In other words, for those few weeks or months out of the year, depending on their location and their forage, they will purchase hay, unroll it, and feed it on the fields, and it is wildly effective. After all, adding tons of organic matter per acre is a very effective way of improving soil health. The problem is it's also extremely expensive, and it's typically effective on smaller portions of the total acreage unless you are feeding a lot of hay. And hay is expensive. And winter feeding is extremely expensive. In fact, it's one of the most expensive costs that we have even here in Mississippi. Most of the value in cattle operations comes when we feed forages that we are growing ourselves on our farm. Occasionally they're cover crops, but most of the time they're perennial cover crops that we just manage, and they don't need a lot of inputs, at least if we handle them in the right way. The more cut forage that we have to import, like hay, to feed cattle, it drives the costs up significantly. In November of 2024 right now, cattle prices are very high, and they've been high for the last year or two. But when cattle prices get low, that is an excellent way of losing a lot of money. Pigs, on the other hand, are a very different story. One of the things that we do here on our farm is using pigs and cover crops to regenerate the soil. The pigs eat a large majority of the cover crops, and they'll root around and root up a lot of the weeds, a lot of the less effective forages, and they'll find a lot of value in the pasture. The secret weapon that pigs have comes in two parts. First, it is their manure. When you compare the nutrient levels and just raw manure that comes out of the backsides of animals, pigs and cows have the lowest nutrient levels, 0.5% nitrogen. And poultry manure is upwards of 5% oftentimes. But you see, pig manure and cow manure both contain a world of a lot of organic matter. And even though pig manure and cow manure are low nutrient levels, they produce a lot of it. For example, on this part of the farm where we're grazing our pigs, it is amazing to me to see how much our soil is transformed by growing cover crops and raising pigs as well. I didn't catch it on video very well, but what I did is I moved the pigs off of this field here on the right, and I just moved them into this paddock. They have a lot of high quality forage in this field, from forage soybeans and sorghum sudan grass, especially the daikon radishes and the chicory and the plantain. And it's of high nutrient value. You see, the pigs will come through here, eat all this, and consume it and do really well. If we had a little bit more grass, the stocker cattle would perform out here really well too. The thing about pig manure and cow manure is they produce a lot more manure than other livestock. Now, cows will consume the forage, poop it out, they'll trample the forage, and they'll do really well. Likewise, pigs will eat the forage, they'll poop, they'll produce a ton of manure out here as well. Now, this is just my observation, and I may be a little bit wrong in this, But in my observation on our farm, when we have really, really poor soils, pig manure is absorbed into the soil through microbes and other soil life a lot faster than cow manure. We can go out to a field where we've had cows in the last 2 months, and we'll still see cow pats. Yes, we'll see European dung beetles and other insects and ants and many other bugs and soil life consuming those cow pats. But when we're out here in our pig pastures, we rarely see much pig manure, even though they produce copious amounts of it. They've been in this paddock that I'm standing in for almost 3 weeks now. You can see little piles of manure like what's right there at the tip of my boot. That's relatively fresh. There's a little bit right there and there. But in my observation, soil life in poor functioning soils is able to synthesize and use pig manure so much more readily and so much faster than cow manure. And when pigs are on a paddock, you'll see, and they root it up, you'll see a quick flush of growth. A lot of times it's because seeds have been exposed. A lot of times it's because it's been tilled up or whatever else by the pig's nose. But that growth is not nearly as quick and not nearly as rapid as you do with poultry manure. You'll see a quick flush of green growth after poultry have been on the paddock because of their nitrogen-rich manure. With pigs, it's more of a delayed response. Now, my suspicion is that when you get something like poultry, most of the nutrients are readily available for the next plant. With pigs, I'm betting that 25 to 50% of the nutrients are available, maybe less, in that first growing season. But in the next growing season, you'll have another 20%. So if you keep putting pigs on a paddock 2 or 3 times a year, after the 3rd and 4th year, you begin to see even more dividends. There's so much organic matter that the pig's manure, their microbes, and many other things increase soil life so much more and so much more effectively. You see, the soil build on that organic matter, and it is scattered around the pasture, not like cows. Now, cows will graze and they'll crap in the pasture, but most of the time cows are going to graze, they're going to go to the shade and they'll poop there. The vast majority of cow manure is scattered where they are sitting in the shade during the day. Pigs may be in the shade at the back of the paddock, but when they come out during the day, they move out here to do their manuring, and then they go back in there. Now, they may eat out here, they'll crap out here, but they don't actually crap where they're cooling off, where cattle do. And it's scattered in the pasture where the forages are growing. Now, the second part of the secret weapon that pigs have in their manure is that it is paid for already when you sell the pigs. Because pigs are monogastric animals, we price pigs based on the amount of feed they're consuming and everything else. If we save money by feeding them cover crops, that's great. Most people don't know how to do that. And frankly, I'm in the early stages of learning how to do that on a year-round basis. But you see, the nutrients from the pig manure is imported to the farm. Now, in the best regenerative systems, we wouldn't be using any grain on our farm for pigs. The manure that comes from the pigs, from that imported feed, is already paid for and placed on the ground. It's nutrient rich, it's organic matter, and the pigs produce copious, the pigs produce copious amounts of crap. And that's where their true value lies. Their manure is only mildly nutrient rich, but it has a lot of organic matter. It builds soil year after year after year, rather than just dumping a little bit of nitrogen on it like poultry do. Secondly, their manure is paid for. If you want to improve soil health on your farm, I'm here to tell you, adding pigs to your enterprise is one of the best things that you can do if you manage their manure properly. This is the first year we've put pigs out here in this field, and it's the second year that we've had cover crops. And in the year that we've had pigs out here, I'm here to tell you, the soil is turning so much darker. And you can see that the soil health is building. It's not compacted. And you can see that they are producing beautiful, beautiful soil. I'm back out here south of Dallar Road where I started recording this video. So far, all we've had out here are cattle. One of these days, I hope to put up to 500 pigs out here. In fact, I'd do it today if I had a market for them. If you're interested in raising pigs, building soil health, or growing your own farm, let me encourage you to sign up to our Grow Your Farm newsletter. It'll be linked in the description below. If you're interested in how you can obtain some of the highest quality pork Let me encourage you to check out our website, dowdlefamilyfarms.com, or sign up to our newsletter, Dowdle Family Farms newsletter. That's where we update you on information that we have for our farm. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Take care, and we'll see you next time.